Hey guys, we are here for Phoenix Comicon 2014, one of our favorite shows of the entire year. Very consistently, great entertainment, great fun, great cosplay, great organizers, very professionally run show, and just, you know, the ultimate in kind of combining all the things that we love about a convention into one place. So it's definitely a highlight on our con calendar every year. We're going to have a blast showing you around a little bit of the floor, the cosplay, obviously some of the panels, and some of the things that really make Phoenix Comicon unique and well worth your drive from, you know, as far away as 8-10 hours, or even jumping on a plane to get out here. So let's start taking a look around. So we're here on the exhibit hall floor, which is massive, and it gets more and more massive each year. And so it's really on par with, you know, the biggest cons out there. You know, very much a WonderCon size type of floor. And so behind us, we've got Dark Horse, we've got Top Shelf, we've got all sorts of avatars here, different publishers, Boom, and so on. And the floor extends really into this like kind of giant L, which is taking up a huge part of this entire convention center. And so obviously there's tons of panels all outside and going along the upstairs area, but just the exhibit hall itself is full of everything from comics, cosplay. They've got giant designated areas for just the cosplayers, as well as a lot of, you know, just deals in terms of a lot of small artists, small press, things like that. So let's go take a look around some of the booths.
Jeez, I called you 3 times.
Yeah, Troy.
Down here earlier tomorrow. Not so much in the classroom, it might be easier to get in.
One really cool thing on the exhibit hall floor here is how much space they dedicate just for the cosplay area. And so it's not just kind of an impromptu setup where cosplayers join and have Phoenix Comic-Con backdrops or anything like that, but it's literally full-on cosplaying groups that come together. So behind us we have the Justice League of Arizona, which is all your favorite DC characters all combined. Next to them, the Arizona Avengers. And then we go down to a bunch of other different groups there. There's the whole horror theme at the end with kind of the haunted house stuff going on and the dragon, things like that. And just this entire back wall is all fairly elaborate setup. So let's go take a look around some of their booths.
Thank you. Keep going. Oh, there we go. I've been glowing on Saturday.
Are you coming? Are you going to meet him in that?
Yeah.
You should you should stroke his beard and then you'll
Alright, so extending in the cosplay areas, it comes down, we've got kind of a whole little mini Renaissance fair thing going on back here where there's been battles throughout the day, and they got a king and queen setup and things like that. Adjacent to it, always a huge setup here is the Cactus Brick group, which is one of the local Lego building groups out here in Arizona, and so there's a lot of awesome displays there. It's always kind of a Where's Waldo type of a experience, looking for all the little superheroes, Star Wars figures, things like that in that massive setup. And then down at the end there, the 501st always has a huge setup there where they put on basically their own this year, and they did the same last year, kind of a Mos Eisley cantina. So a lot of stuff going on down there, prop replicas, costuming, and just, you know, just a full-on kind of Star Wars experience at the end. So let's go take a little closer look at these.
Yeah, I can't be here tomorrow. time. From them price break back.
All right, so down here in the exhibit hall where we're at kind of at the hall 6 side of things, we have this huge autographing area, which is nice because they have the queues very much separated out. It's very clear where to stand for everything. They've got huge signs in front of each of the areas that kind of say, okay, here's who's signing, here's their the times, price, and even some of their panel information and stuff like that, so it's really fun. Most of the autographs here running in that kind of $30, $40 range, exception being Nathan Fillion at $80 and stuff, but for the most part, they're usually pretty much from that $30, $40, $50 range. Anyway, so it's really nice to also give perspective just on the size of the floor, because that's one of the things that we keep talking about. I think it's hard to just totally tell that story on video, but we can see kind of how it extends here and goes all the way back, you know, so we're here in the 1,400 rows, 2,500 down here, but it goes really even much further than that. And so you really get a kind of a sense of just scale and scope as we kind of try and step back here of just how big this thing is. And everywhere, every bit of it is using up the entire floor space. So you don't really have like dead space. Everything is being used for something. And there's good room in between like autograph lines and things like that. But again, just cram-packed, full of action, every bit as much on par with something the size of, let's say, a WonderCon or something along those lines. So just a lot of fun packed into this show.
Not. No, it's like, here, let me go to my survey. Yeah. Picked up his own book.
Perfect. Alright, so hopefully you liked all the things that you saw there of what we kind of covered at Phoenix Comicon. Now we're going to go under the con with a quick wrap-up and kind of go underneath the hood of the show and kind of flesh things out a little bit and kind of wrapping up 2014. So as is very apparent throughout, I'm sure, our coverage, whether you're following social media or just even the YouTube video here, is we really love the show. It's kind of that perfect balance for us of kind of the Hollywood side, the comic side, the indie side, the creativity, and just kind of all smashed together into a really nice big show. And that's a big part of it, is that it's a big show. It's every bit online there with a WonderCon or something like that. So to kind of flesh that out a little bit, though, a few things in terms of stuff we picked up and why it was big for us. Really the balance between the creative types with the comics and then again those, you know, some of that Hollywood fun that ties in with the TV shows and movies. So Chris Claremont was a big target for us to be able to see him, talk to him, and, you know, get some books signed. And so, you know, he is the reason we have so many of the great X-Men stories we have, and so many of the characters are the way they are. And so seeing him was a definite must. That led to another all-star in the world of comics, Mike Golden. We had him also sign our Avengers annual number 10, which is first appearance of Rogue, and then he did some awesome work back in the day in Star Wars and Micronauts there. Mike Grell, the theme of the weekend had a lot of Arrow and Green Arrow stuff, and so Mike Grell, Longbow Hunters, is kind of an iconic piece of Green Arrow history, and so picked up a print from him and had him sign our book. And so you have those icons of the comic industry. And then the new guys too, lots of newer ones, some really off the grid and some more prevalent too. So from Image, Joe Harris, Great Pacific, and he's done things with DC and X-Files and stuff like that. But we love this book, got to talk to him, get him to sign them. And then over at the Avatar booth, God is Dead, the writer who's taken over for Jonathan Hickman, Mike Costa, was there, and so again, being able to see him and interact. And so just this awesome, flow of comic book creators. There's also, Van Jensen, Robert Venditti, Fred Van Lente, all sorts of people there that you could interact with, talk, get their autographs, and just a really solid foundation of comic creators. Then you turn over to the Hollywood side, and you have, big days of panels. We spent pretty much all of our Saturday in panels with John Barrowman and Nathan Fillion and Stephen Amell from Arrow. We saw Manu Bennett, who from Lord of the Rings and Spartacus fame, and got our Arrow poster signed, adding him to it for Deathstroke. But some really awesome, ballroom 20-ish, if to use San Diego Comicon terminology type panels, a big 4,000, 5,000 seat room packed to the brim. Today we had Stan Lee in a conversation with Todd McFarlane, and then Michael Rooker busts in and they start talking Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's just, you have that type of epic kind of grand scale fun balanced out with being able to get to these comic creators and get to the front of the line, and not everything being that constant fight that it is at maybe something like a San Diego or a New York. Also in that focus on creativity, there's just a lot of handmade jewelry. Carmel picked up these hair, very unique kind of clock hand hair pieces, these earrings, and again, just all kind of very unique stuff, just tons of unique plush, dolls, jewelry, some shirts picked up. In this case, they actually had a printing press and they were making the shirts there, so you would pick your Phoenix Comic Con shirt that you wanted made by the company. It was just awesome because it didn't have to be just one print. They had Doctor Doom, they had Sulu, they had a Comics Authority type, all sorts of stuff like that. Then in just the pure shopping side of things, lots of toys, lots of good loose figures and things like that. Not amazing prices, but good prices. There weren't the same type of sales on Sunday as we've seen in the past there, which I think kind of speaks to the health of the show, is it was just so busy and people were selling that there wasn't that urgency maybe to sell on Sundays like we've seen in some past. That being said, we were able to pick up Game of Thrones figures for $10 a piece on the last day, so that was nice. We still saved most of our shopping in the area of toys and comics for that last day and picked those up. Tons of comic bins, mostly of the, dollar and up variety, but some 50-cent ones, just picking some up. Definitely not as many comic vendors as we've seen in the past, and that's kind of been it felt like a little bit of a decline there. But still, we were able to find a bunch of good books there, pick up some older, a little bit more valuable books there. And then obviously there's always the trades. Went over to the amazing Comicon guys, Jimmy J's booth, and picked up a nice trade, Days of Future Past. And so we're able to find the comic things we needed. But again, it was just a really nice balance between really everything that you want in a con, everything. If you go onto a video of, a WonderCon or a New York Comic Con and things like that, you have there to varying extents. So you're not going to have, the one thing you're not going to have is, you're not going to have Warner Brothers there with a booth, and you're not going to have, here's footage from next season's Walking Dead episodes or things like that. You're not going to have that, but you are going to have, some of these same actors talking about some of the things. So, Stan Lee talking about his cameo in Guardians of the Galaxy, so it didn't have the studio representation there, but you're still getting that glimpse into that. Nathan Fillion talking about, the episode of Firefly that he really wanted to see and what he would have done with it. And so those types of unique opportunities to get kind of close up to the Hollywood talent, the people that make it. And at the same time, as Jimmy J's talked about with his amazing conventions, he brings in the architects of pop culture, and that's kind of what this has some of those architects, but then it also has some of the talent that puts it together in the on the big screen there, and so you kind of marrying those two things in a very large scale show, and so it's awesome. So really fun show. Can't wait for Phoenix Comic Con 2015, which will be on Memorial Day weekend next year, so obviously we'll have tons of coverage for that. Coming up next for us, just as kind of a programming note, we have tons of shows in June and July. You know, I believe 7 conventions before we get to San Diego Comic-Con, so a lot of stuff. So subscribe to the YouTube channel and join us with that. Our next big show is Amazing Las Vegas, which has some of the best comic book talent in the world ever, past and present. So we can't wait to see that and see what they're doing with it this year, because it was a great show last year and we're looking forward to it this year. So until next time, we'll see you in line somewhere.